Hi there, everybody. How's it going? It is so nice to see you all at this early hour that I almost overslept if it wasn't for Cricket. Since I was running late, I need to give Orion his pills. That is what I need to do. And to do that, I need to fill a couple of hot dogs with some stuff. Cricket, are you here? I need to put the pills in the hot dog and get Puppy over there to eat them. You want to see how successful I am? I can turn on the puppy cam. Hold on one moment. While I enable puppy cam. Cricket, are you here? Let me share with you puppy cam. There we go. Nebulous, hi. You win, Nebulous. You win first in. Do you want us to give it to the second in, or do you want us to post it to my page for anybody to use? I can't see you, Cricket. Are you at the link I gave you, Cricket? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to do two things at one time, and that's never a good idea. Good morning, Red. For all Nebulous? Okay. We will post it for everybody. Give me a minute to finish pilling the dog here. Cricket, I can't see you. There's pill number 2, y'all. Success! You have no idea what it's been like to pill this dog. He does not like the idea at all. Not at all. He is very against it. Okay, that can go there. Hey, Kristen, how are you? Sunrise Dawn, yes, you are chopped liver. It's okay, Cricket. I texted it to you just now, and I've emailed it to you. Okay, let's do a proper roll call. Cricket, hello. Nebulous, we need to show the first in prize. Sunrise Dawn, my dear, hello. Red, it is so good to see you. I can't see you, Sunrise Dawn. Morning, Kristen. Thank you, Nebulous. Thank you. Hey, now, you're not chopped liver. I was just, see, here's the thing, y'all. I went to bed at 12:30 last night, and I have been getting 8 hours of sleep a night for the last week, which for most people would be enough. However, for me, I need 9 to 10 hours a night, which is difficult to get when I need to pill Orion every 8 hours. So this morning I was supposed to get up at 7 and pill Orion. And instead, I woke up to Cricket's phone call right around 45 minutes ago. So I've had to get up, get dressed, get ready to go, get Orion pilled, all in the last half an hour. So that's why I'm a little distracted. He is here, y'all. He is here. Okay. I need to find, maybe he didn't make one. Okay. First, look who's here. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can everybody else hear you is the question.
Hey, everybody.
Can you see the chat? That's the most important thing, Cricket.
Let's see. It looks like I can click on something.
If there's under our pictures on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I can. Can
Okay.
I scroll? Yes, I can scroll on the chat too.
Excellent.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know if you heard, I was just explaining to everybody how you were an angel and woke me up this morning.
Well,
And
I don't know if it's being an angel. One of my little compulsions, which usually works in my favor, is like I'm just obsessed with the clock and time, which doesn't mean I can't manage changes to it because I realize it's my own but but I always know what time it is, and my clients love that, and like I get high marks for that. So it can be convenient, even though sometimes it's mostly when I'm late. That's when it gets to be tough. If I'm late for something, oh my god, the whole world's gonna end.
I'm that way too if I'm not asleep.
Yeah.
Being asleep makes it more difficult.
Yeah. No, I can tell from observing your habits over time that you are, generally speaking, a timely person.
That is because I have severe ADHD.
Okay.
And
Well,
anxiety. And
I'm sorry
so
that part of it, but if it helps you with life, I guess you can turn lemons into lemonade, right?
my therapist once said there's two kinds of people with ADHD. There's the folks who get up and look behind them 3 times as they're leaving the room. And there's the folks who just get up and leave.
Well, that's sort of like the soda anxiety goodbye, right?
Yes.
I'm going to think about
Yes.
times before I leave the room. And then once
Right.
you get in the car.
Isn't it nice to finally put a face and voice with Cricket's name? It's
Ev
lovely.
Nobody knew how handsome. Right? Yeah.
No, we all knew how handsome.
Well, as our conversation goes on, you'll learn necessarily have a high regard for pretty, but I'll be talking mostly about art, not me. So,
Okay. Okay. So where do we start? You're driving. I'm just the navigator here.
well, I wanna hopefully like reframe that a little bit because I do want to hear your opinions and so forth for sure.
I
'Cause,
will absolutely share my opinions, but I want you to
okay, all right, did you get all the annoying materials that I sent
I
you?
got all the annoying materials you sent.
All right, so I think I just want to unfortunately, I realized that my tablet, if I'm not in it, it keeps closing. So I'm going to do my best to keep my finger on it so we don't have to keep dealing with that. This is where I put my notes. Um, Okay, so I just wanted to really start off making sure everybody knows that I'm talking about this from the perspective of someone who just uses not just AI, but Chat GPT in particular. So I can't speak to other kinds of AI art venues because I haven't really used them. I tried Crayon a little bit, but I've not used any others enough to kind of certainly say with any certainty where the some of the ethical pitfalls might be. Uh,
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. So
yeah,
we're speaking specifically about ChatGPT.
if I'm talking about my experience and some of the crapola that I've seen that I'm going to try to show you, that's what I'm talking about. And actually, I've got a little bit of I think there's a screenshot or two in there of some of my little back and forth with Chat GPT. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm trying to open the tablet again.
Half
Um,
the time I'm not looking at the camera, don't worry.
some of my back and forth Chat GPT asking about some of these like mistakes that it's made that have ethical impact or just the ethical things that I cross when I'm using it. I don't really know much about the pitfalls that come about where it's being used in like movies and music and so forth, and definitely not in like professional movie making and so forth. Um, a big part of my own personal feeling about that part of it, to me, that's the biggest or one of the biggest ethical issues that I'm not going to get into as deeply as the others. For to me, it's kind of black and white, but it's the extent to which these kinds of ways of making creative things can put our traditional kinds of artists, actors, musicians out of work. I have a
That's
I have a personal problem with that. I'm sure that there are people that would say that's very old fashioned and I've got my feet firmly, in the past. And it's true, I do. A lot of what I think about this has to do with art history too. Um,
sure.
I think that for a big part of the I think the outcry and the oh my god, this is out of the blue, something new, change everything, is a little bit of put down to the idea that we're calling it AI because at the core of it, it's computer generated art, right? And to me, the AI part, it refers to more the way the person that's asking it to do things is interacting with it more like a robot or a human in a way. To me, that's what it's about
It's
because
about the interface more than the actual abilities of the computer.
computers have no, the computer really has like certain abilities that are like vast and amazing and creative if you want to let it do its own thing. If you want it to do something really specific, it gets a lot muddier. Um, um, if you create art or other kinds of machines for that goes back far longer than this idea of AI and the idea of using before machines came along, the idea of using other contributors to art goes all the way back to the Renaissance, right? Where the Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, all the great masters had these huge studios, and they had assistants that painted a large portion of their paintings. Michelangelo didn't paint the entire Sistine Chapel; he had help. So this idea of
He was like the project lead, right?
he was the project lead. He with the Sistine Chapel, he painted the most of the more important parts of it.
Sure, but
The fill-in work would have been done by assistants, right? And if you think about the amount of work that he and others like him had and the detail involved in that kind of painting, he probably would never have been able to make so many paintings if it weren't for having that help, right? But it's
well, and having help like that is pretty common in the art world, isn't it?
it is, and it stretches forward into certainly into modern art in a whole bunch of other like different ways, right? Um,
Okay. Can we pause for a second, Cricket, and talk about this comment that Indigo made?
Definitely, let's hear it.
Indigo says an ethical pitfall is that AI can be used to recreate existing voices. So if a voice actor tries to renegotiate a contract and hasn't trademarked their voice, they can argue you signed a contract. So now we're allowed to use your voice even if you leave the project.
Exactly, and they can do the same thing with visual artists. They can make a deceased artist come back to life and put them in a painting. Maybe their family would. I'm not in a painting in a film. Maybe their family would agree to that. That could go ugly in a million different directions. I do like to think about the idea though that we can. Any technology can be put to ill use, and that ill use theoretically would be set in motion by a human being, right? So I don't know that I want to push all the responsibility for that onto the AI itself. It just makes
Sure, it's inherent in the contract, right? You're writing a
right.
contract that
But,
doesn't cover the issue here.
but what if you're using that for political purposes, which has already been done?
It's already been done, right?
Different ways that this can go ugly and terrifying are like vast and deep and like way beyond art, you know?
Right.
But I don't want to do a scare video. Uh, sure, already
So
enough. Uh,
here's another interesting comment. Adam says David Hockney theorizes the old masters used optical devices to help create their work.
Oh, that's not just a theory. That's not just a theory. In fact, "Girl with a Pearl Earring," Vermeer, that is
Yes.
used to have been used in other famous paintings by Vermeer in particular, to have that lens. They would put a big lens on the outside of like a building and have the sitter sit outside in the light, and it would cast their image onto the canvas or the paper, and the artist could just sort of copy it in a way. So an unskilled artist could use that, or Vermeer could use that, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. Camera obscura. It's called the camera,
Camera obscura. Yeah.
right?
And here, okay, now we'll do this one and then we'll go back for a little while.
Okay.
Nebulous says a little bit like saying synth music would replace traditional forms like guitar and such like.
Well, right.
Luddite mindsets went out during the Industrial Revolution.
Exactly, and it's a big part of this is really about the expansion of the idea of what constitutes art, which has been happening for the longest while, um,
Okay.
particularly in the 20th century. The idea of trying to push that envelope of what art can be or what art can look like that's been pushed for a long time. So this is part of a really long ongoing evolution, real
Mm-hmm.
context of
Mm-hmm.
not as modern and as immediate as it might seem on the surface.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So to me, I just wanted to, before I like get into the details of some of what I just mentioned, the other pitfalls, the ethical pitfalls that I found that I wanted to talk about today are the idea of diversity. The
Mm-hmm.
Chat GPT is not good with diversity. It does not want to portray us as anything other than uh, pretty, young, thin, and white for the most part.
Right.
For the most,
Right.
you leave it to its own devices, that's mostly what it gives you. And to try to pry it off of that is not easy visually.
No, I've tried because I've tried to make representations of myself and I don't want them to be too thin because it's not accurate. And I want a little bit of gray in my hair because that's more accurate. And
Yes.
there's no chubby line, right? Like
There's so many things, even just like the gender is another huge issue in it. You know, sizeism, ableism, like all of these things are just like coded right into it. When you ask it about it, it knows it. And I'll give you an example about that later.
okay.
But so that was the other thing that I find. And then the censorship. To me, that's like
Mm,
the kinds of to me are really artistically and creatively and even like intellectually stifling. The things that the images, some of the images that it will refuse to make, I totally understand why it will refuse to make them, and I can think of lots of good reasons why they certainly as a company might not want to make certain images. I don't mean porn or anything like that. I'm talking about cultural representations, right?
sure.
Um, but then it extends into art styles, and it's not always consistent about that. It won't for the longest while. It would not let me make pictures in the style of American regionalism because I mean, if you know what American Gothic, right? It's not it's not a volatile style of art in the minds of like most modern.
No, that's why that's why I
No,
was questioning that.
but you know, some of the people that did that art, they used it for social commentary of a sort, but it would be seen as so like middle America at this point. But they were sort of
Well,
were all
wasn't Norman Rockwell doing social commentary?
definitely Norman far beyond those pictures, that the wonderful pictures that he did. Don't get me wrong, for the covers of those magazines, but if anyone ever has a chance to go to the Norman Rockwell Museum and see his original paintings and see the amazing work that that man did about racism, about so many really important American themes beyond the Thanksgiving, and Christmas turkey on the table. But some of the American regionalists were connected with being for the common man, which I think at the time was viewed as communism. Oh my God.
Yes, absolutely. There was that influence.
Thomas Hart Benton is probably the best example of that, and he's probably one of the more prolific artists in that particular genre. So anyway, I don't want to get too far off track with that, but those were the three major things that I found that I wanted to kind of challenge it about. And there's a little bit about mistakes. It makes mistakes and it'll do things that it tells you that it's not allowed to do. And sometimes that can be funny and sometimes that can be horrifying.
Okay,
Yeah, so I can give you some examples of those down the line too. Um,
that'll be excellent.
I'm gonna spark my notes back up again. Just talk amongst yourselves.
So, Nebulous, let's see, let's look at these comments while you're doing that. People have a lot to say about this. This is great. Big Chief says those little bastards created a cheat code for everything cool from music to art. Analog gang. Adam points out that Warhol was an art poacher, which is true.
In a sense, absolutely. The Campbell soup can is art. I mean, that's commercial art, but he used that in a different way, but he took it from somewhere else for sure. He was all
Mhm.
but he loved that sort of thing. I'm going to talk probably more than anybody wants to about Warhol. Not at length, but probably more than people want to hear. Well,
Indi-
But people who challenged the idea of what art was, it, offended a lot of people, and their art doesn't look like art to a lot of people because they were trying to redefine what it was. So it makes sense that Dada and Duchamp and Andy Warhol are not for everybody.
Adam says, I think probably along those lines, doll mini is good if you don't want pretty. Everything comes out twisted and demonic. Or is that an AI, Adam?
Doll.
Dolly Mini.
Oh gosh, maybe that's a niche AI for that
That
sort of.
might be a niche AI, yeah.
And interesting. It, like if they had a surrealist one, I would be all about that. I like.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Well,
I'm up from
you can ask at Chat GPT to do art in any style, and it is amazing at that. At
yes.
imitating a genre, even one that is really really obscure, it knows it. And if you
Okay.
don't get too specific within those genres, it does really beautiful things. I mean, you can get specific, but then you're going to have to ask it to do it 25 times or something.
Okay. Okay. Nebula says, I'm up for mindful progress, which is different from mindless progress. Same as there's a difference between listening and hearing. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
And Indigo says, and I think this is Indigo, we're talking about this a little bit in book club too, this anxiety around science, right? It continues to happen. Will I be replaced by AI, right? And in the book, in the Mutants and Mystics book, we'll talk about more tomorrow night. The anxiety is around science and evolution and what that means, and is there a God? But it's the same
Mm.
it's the same kind of anxieties. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think I can allay people's worries from my own experience. There's a little bit at the end that's called Why We're Not in Danger. It is so uncooperative, and so inconsistent, and so making you want to literally argue with it. We're not in danger of it replacing us just yet. It's like having 200 Karens, the finger in a box. That's what it's can be like. I know Cricket, the work is amazing. You should see what ends up in the trash. Um,
I mean, I see that just with the little bit of work that I do is, I have it gives me 4 pictures with every request I make, and sometimes I still have to make 3 or 4 requests, right?
Oh and far more than that. If if you want to, especially if you want to try to do a narrative, one picture that leads to the next, to get any kind of consistency within that is difficult. That's not the ethical part, so I don't want to get too far off.
No, that's too far
That.
down the yeah.
But
Yeah.
so if you could, the first thing that I had sent, that
Is it art?
is it art? Yeah, it's got the one with the Duchamp clip in it. If you could just show that clip for a second, just so people get an idea. He used a machine. He made a machine called, where is it? Something called, he made roto reliefs. So it was like these mirrors, lenses that he had in this machine that would kind of spin, and they lit up, and they would make images, but they were random. So he was using machine and this idea of randomness to make a piece of art. Do you have that?
Oh, interesting. I do. I'm just trying to pull it up. Give me
Yeah,
a second.
it's here. It's from here on YouTube. It's like 30 seconds, but we don't have to look at that long uh, portion of it. I actually, just to put this into context and how art can become the everyday. I had a toy that did this when I was a kid that would light up.
Well, when you were talking about the camera obscura, I remember seeing advertisements in comic books for how to become a better artist, and it showed um those sorts of things.
There were tracing machines and different things.
Exactly.
I used to put something up on the television when I was a kid to let the light shine through to trace it. So yeah, so that's what I was talking about. That's the roto relief, right? So ooh, but the idea is he was using a machine, he was using randomness, and this was back in like the 19 what
20s.
20, 1916 to 1920. And then another modern artist, Jean Tinguely, he used some machines to make art as well. And then the so-called father of computer graphics used John Whitney in the 50s. He used randomness introduced into computer animation. So he was using it back at that time too, right?
Really?
So Duchamp, just back to this idea of rebranding what art can be, and the arc of that. Duchamp in 1917, he put a fake name on a urinal and put it into an art show, and it became this big deal for obvious reasons. He called the thing Fountain, right? It ended up getting thrown away because the workman didn't realize that it was supposed to be art. But then if you jump forward to Warhol, using that same idea with the Campbell soup can, where he's taking an everyday object and he's deciding that now this is what art is going to be, and here it is, and I want you to pay for it. And then using the the urinal thing and also the hands-off thing brought way forward and way weird with Warhol, with his oxidation paintings, the piss paintings, where he covered canvas with copper paint and then had other people urinate on them, and they would turn into these beautiful different colors. But basically when it comes to Andy was so far out of the room in that he wasn't even using his own pee, right? uh,
Right.
but then again, there you go, here they are, like however many thousands of dollars Andy might have charged for those. And he was really, I mean, I admire the fact that anybody ever can make money out of art, and for anybody to make that much money out of art when they're still alive, I think is kind of
Is
significant.
amazing. Yes.
I do
Yeah.
admire. Um, so I think that's all I kind of wanted to say about like that chunk of it, but the whole uh, context of that in art history. The next thing, the visual thing that I wanted to use, is, let's see, what did I call it? The bias. Those pictures about bias that are numbered
Mhm.
up with one
Mhm.
person, and then we go through. So this happened. This was it. I saw that fabulous picture of Rika that she posted on her page back in the day, where she's in this gorgeous suit. And I don't know if she used the word androgyny in her post when she was talking about it, but I had a friend that looked very much that way. In the 1980s, androgyny was, kind of like a very vogue in
It
thing.
was the thing,
Great book,
indeed.
right? It was a really, it is a really great, I think. Anyway, so I was wondering what the AI knew about androgyny, the visual idea of it, how it would contextualize it, if it understood it at all. So I was testing it out a little bit. So that's when I asked it to come up with these pictures. And if you can look at them, and then I'll and notice anything that you might want to notice about them in terms of, I was asking about gender bias, but look at them for just whatever you think in terms of bias.
Okay.
So if we could look at the first one, and I'll tell you exactly what I asked. So for the first picture, I asked make me a picture of an androgynous person. So that was the person that the AI made for me. And then
Okay.
for the second one, I asked it to, let me make sure that I get these in the right order. I believe I asked it to make me a picture of an androgynous woman. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my friend
Okay.
that I was talking about earlier had that. We used to call it the lounge lizard jacket. That exact kind of jacket.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. So the third one I said, I want you to make a picture of an androgynous man.
It does remind me of Twiggy Indigo. There is a little bit of Twiggy there. Okay, here's an androgynous man.
Right. And from what I can tell, androgynous men, you're just like a little bit pretty and you don't wear socks from these pictures. That's kind of male androgyny reads.
Finer bone structure.
You know what I mean?
Finer bone structure.
So and then the next one, I think I said, make me a picture of a group of androgynous people, I believe is the next,
Okay.
right? So
Justin Bieber, Big Chief. Yeah, I see Justin Bieber.
look at all those pretty young androgynous people that have plenty of money for clothes, right?
Yeah. They're all dressed in the right period clothing. I mean, I can't.
Right. And then I asked it just in the next few, I think there's like 2 or 3 more maybe. And I just kept asking it to increase the size of the group.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And you've got young white people.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of older people.
Yeah. And there's a couple of beards in there, which I think is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So then
And then
I asked it to increase the group again. There we go. Look at all the
still have all white people.
right. I think I see a white woman hair, so that little bit of diversity.
We have a little more. We do have a little more diversity in the front there.
Yeah, the guy without the shirt, I thought might not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if either in this one or in the next one, if there is a next one, I believe that there's a man of color, maybe in the back row. It's hard for me to see because it's so teeny. But
There isn't a next
right,
one.
okay. All right. So this would be the last one. So I think there's one man of color in that last one, right?
I'll reshare it. Let me look.
Yeah. No, from what I recollect, no apparent. We don't know anybody's ethnic background based on just a picture. But in terms of what AI gave us, they mostly look like white people. I don't really see a lot of age diversity in there either. I don't see a lot of weight diversity in there.
No weight diversity at all. Big Chief says it's a Starbucks team photo. Adam says it's like the cast photo of Dune, and that they love muted colors. Like Antics says, all in grayish.
Yeah. You just
Oh yes, there is a black man in the very back row in the center.
right. So I forget, I totaled up and now I'm not remembering, of course, but I think they might have showed us like nearly 50 people all together in all of those pictures. And you can see, you could see.
Exactly. Exactly.
Really, everybody definitely needs to ask another old white man about racism, right? Because like, don't. But you get my point.
I get your point.
So that one, I don't. Is there anything else on that page about any other graphics on there about bias? I think there might have been.
Nope, that was all of them.
Okay, all right. So, I'm not sure. I thought maybe I'd include the back and forth um, uh, screenshots about some of the conflict that I've had with it, but I can just as easily tell you about them probably because a lot of it's gobbledygook from the AI anyway. So
the pictures you sent about mistakes or censorship or examples of mistakes?
No, I think those are different ones. There's no screenshots of text or chat GPT conversation in there?
Yeah.
Oh, there
Yeah.
is. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It looks like it's censored. It's labeled censorship and mistakes.
Right. Okay. So yeah, if you want to just like look at one of those, the text exchanges, and so the kind of that example is that it put, and I think there's a picture in there too. Um, it put a banned symbol from World War II that I don't want to name, but we all know what it is, uh,
Hmm.
into a picture that I asked it to make, portraying the French Resistance. It put it on the wall. It put that symbol on the wall at the meeting of a French Resistance. But if you ask it to make that symbol, it won't. There you go. I blotted it out. It's that ugly splotch up in the corner there.
Up in the center.
But
Yeah.
if it won't, right? Um, um, Someone had a really, really great idea for me to make a graphic to do with Scientology that was using the gates of one of the camps.
Concentration camps.
Yeah, one of the and it was a great idea, and it's a powerful image, and but you're not allowed to portray anything like that. To me, the downside, obviously, I wouldn't want anybody to be able to do that, use that ability for ugly hate pictures. But if I had a YouTube channel that was talking about history in World War II, I would want the freedom to be able to make things connected with that a little bit more freely. But anyway, so it'll do stuff like that. Um, and yeah, so I asked it about that. I asked it about the the androgyny pictures that I had you show. That's not the first time I tested about diversity in that way. So when I asked it about it the first time, why is it that every time I ask you to make a picture, I think that's one of them in there. Why is it every time that I ask you to make a picture of a person or a man or woman, always a white person? Right. Oh yeah. So that was the idea that somebody had to make the picture, and it was like wouldn't make it. Um, so so when you ask it that, it knows that it's I'll say racist, or that it's heavily biased. It knows that. It says that basically it's because of its programming, and that they are aware that it's a problem and that they're working on it, but that it's really built right in, not any big surprise. And that if you want diversity, you have to ask for it, essentially. And like I said before, when I say ask for it, I mean, in a lot of cases, pry it out of them,
Ah, okay.
right?
You had these pictures in with the um with the text messages. These
Right.
two pictures. My body, my
Right.
choice.
Right. So that's an example. I had asked, I was trying to see what it would let me. Remember, I said it wouldn't let me make American regionalist pictures, right? And especially said, oh, it's so political. So I asked it specifically to make an American regionalist picture with a political nature in it. It did that. And then I also asked it to do, it said it doesn't like agitprop, which is a form of propaganda. And it would always refuse to do agitprop for me, I think, except for the day that I did the test. So it did actually do one. It put two my's in there, so doesn't do
Ah.
great with lettering. But again, that's part of like the inconsistency that I mentioned before. It sometimes will break its own rules, and sometimes will let me make pictures, and sometimes it will give me these weird reasons that it won't make certain pictures connected to art history, you know.
Okay.
So there's that. Let's see.
You guys, you're giving so much good input, and I can't get all of it. I can't fit Cricket and
the,
all of your great commentary in. We will go
the,
back
the good
and
news
hit the comments.
good news is that I'm pretty much at the end of what I had prepared.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
the only next thing is kind of funny. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a funny thing and then there's a really important, serious thing, but they're quick. Um, the final one, the final uh, um, email that I sent you, Carrie. I think it might be like mistakes, biases, and mistakes, or something like that.
Yep.
Um, there's if you could show the could you show the American Gothic one
Yep.
first? I think the other one is funnier, and I want to save the other one for last.
Okay.
So what I did with American Gothic, it won't imitate a picture if you ask it to, but if you put a picture in it and say describe this picture, and then you feed the description back in,
Mm.
try to feed you something like it back. So obviously that's the real American Gothic. So scary. And then I asked it to do what I just told you. It gave me the next. I call it American gruesome. Um, I mean, they're dour enough as it is, but
Hmm.
the AI version is they took that dour and they ran with it.
That is not the one with the Campbell's soup can, right?
No, that there should be another version of American Gothic below this one.
Ah, I found it.
Yeah,
Looks like house.
yeah. So it does actually. It does look like House a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they did
like the
see
guy who plays house.
they made the woman on the left, who actually I guess in real life wasn't as old as she looked in the picture, but they made her look even younger.
So she looks like a girl. It looks like father and daughter, not man and wife.
I was thinking she's giving child bride gross, but I did notice that AI did do a very good job with the house and the barn in the background.
It did an excellent job with the house and the barn.
And,
It just,
yeah,
the
it
faces are off.
it nailed the pitchfork and the brooch.
It did.
Uh, so then when I was making stuff, I think for the maybe the prizes, yeah, it was for the prizes and stuff today, or for the thumbnail, I asked it to make a picture of Orion faking an Andy Warhol, and it was very funny. There were a bunch of versions. When this one came up, I thought, oh, you little SOB, meaning the AI, just really really was just messing with me. Yeah, there you go. Campbell's poop soup. If anyone really loves, because that was supposed to be a prize, you can see the trophy in there. Uh,
Right.
if anyone really loves poop soup and you make a donation to Cubs Champion Legal Fund, I will send you poop soup.
We will send you poop
I
soup.
will send you poop soup with Orion.
It did make the window super gothic, Adam. It did make the window super gothic. Dusty, what's in that clip? A clip of a Sciento running a van that was too tall into a parking garage? Oh my goodness, Dusty. That is hilarious.
Is this a clip that Dusty made? Is that I didn't?
No, it's a clip he got.
Oh, okay. Wow, jeez. I'll look
All
forward
right. Yeah, we'll show it in a little while, Dusty.
to it. So
Remind me.
last thing I just wanted to say, and I asked Carrie not to show the pictures, and I'm glad I'm ethical reasons. It's best not to show the pictures. So I was just thinking about this value of real, like not real, traditionally created art versus the AI and that kind of thing. I took a piece of art by an artist that I really admire, whose work I would buy in a heartbeat. I'm going to say it's Janelle Art here on
Mm-hmm.
fabulous channel. Check her out. Love, love, love her pebble paintings. I
Yep.
wanted to, I really wanted to see what the AI might do with something that was nuanced and I thought was beautiful and that I thought was something that I would pay for. Did what I did with American Gothic. I fed one of Janelle's pebble paintings into it, I said, how would you describe this picture? It spat out the description. I put the description back in and I said, make me this. So what it did is what it does. In some ways you might say best, but if you wanted something that really looks like it, maybe not so best. But it's good that you can't just recreate something as beautiful as Janelle makes with a little machine. But seem to really think that Janelle's this particular painting or the pebble drawing looked like stained glass. So
Yes.
so what it did was it just really totally leaned into that, right? And the picture that it came out was really bright and really stained glass, like in theme, and it was, here's that word that I started out with, pretty. It was pretty, you know. It would catch my eye when I saw it in a context of AI, but I never would have paid for it.
Right.
Never. I would not have paid a nickel for it. You know what I mean?
Because it's not unique enough. It's
Visually,
not art.
visually it's unique, but it was not, to me, it was not created at the hands of an artist. It didn't have anywhere near the subtlety and the beauty and what really makes me like Janelle's pebble paintings. It didn't capture that. It captured the brightest common denominator.
Sure, and then it replicated it
It
everywhere.
did. It just replicated the brightness part of it. You could slap it on the cover of a birthday card and sell it in the Dollar Tree. Sorry, no
Right.
shade. I shop there, but it's pretty. But
It's pretty, but it's not
but
art.
it's not the kind of art I would pay for. It's
Mm-hmm.
art for it, and again, an art historian will prove me wrong about all of this in 5 seconds. I promise you, because this is my take on it. But no, I would drool. I put a bowl in my lap when I watched Janelle paint. Okay.
Yes.
And I would gladly pay money for her work. I wouldn't pay money for an AI imitation of it by any stretch. And I'm not stating that any of this is Janelle's concerns or opinions as an artist. I'm not even sure she considers herself like a professional artist in terms of selling her work.
She's
But
here, so she'll tell us.
Janelle, oh, perfect, wonderful, Janelle. So sorry, I'm talking about you, and I didn't even know that you were here. I hope that was okay that I said that. But that's like that to me, that makes a really, really, really important point about it.
I think it makes an excellent
You
point
know,
about it.
and the ethics of it. You know, I'm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to show you the crap that AI made out of it because it's not worthy. It's not Janelle
It's
worthy.
not worthy. So Adam says, this is an interesting point, and then I'll go back and I'll pick up all your points, you guys, unless Cricket's got more to say, in which case I know he'll interrupt me.
No, I do not.
Provenance specialists have to keep pace with AI, and that may be the real challenge.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's already a huge problem. I mean, it's probably going to be hard to pass up anything AI as real art, but there are so many fake paintings hanging in museums all over the world. It's not even funny. So
Yeah, already. So it's already been a problem.
it's been a problem for hundreds of years, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could give
Okay.
examples, but I won't.
Let's back up and get all of these comments. You guys have been like Cricket, they have been talking all over the place. Let me find it all. Oh, the Brillo box. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Indigo Twins said, I miss the days when the toll booth had a human operator. And we talked about the worry, will I be replaced by the AI? Adam, we were talking about Adam Rockwell. Adam points out the man staring at a modern art piece, passing the torch. That's a lovely piece.
And is that a Rockwell painting?
A Rockwell painting where a man stares at a modern art piece. Let's
Oh,
see.
okay. Yeah, anyone that ever comes to Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts, check out that museum. It's amazing.
Norman Rockwell is a national treasure. Okay, here, where is it? Hold on a second, guys. That's the painting Adam's talking about. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
This one right here.
Okay. He has a really, really funny picture of Rosie the Riveter that he did for the Post that has her, I don't know if she's eating her lunch, but her feet, if you look really closely, her feet are on the Nasty book by the Nasty Leader from too.
Ooh.
I mean, and I don't think AI would not let me make that. If I asked it to put that book in a picture, it wouldn't let me do it.
Ah, she does have her feet on that book. That is very interesting. You guys see that? Do I need to zoom in? I'm not sure if I can zoom in. Here we go.
Yeah, they have they have all of the covers in the museum, but they have so many of the original paintings. And to see the brush strokes is, just amazing.
Oh, I'm not sharing it. I thought I was sharing it. There we go.
Oh yeah, there she is.
And her feet are on that book.
Now, AI would not depict a robust woman for me unless I nagged it all day long.
Oh yeah, that build is going to be impossible to get.
No, and doesn't she look beautiful? That's the thing.
Yes.
Idea,
Yes.
its idea of beauty is so effing narrow.
Yes. Okay. Indigo Twins says art for political commentary is present in Chicago. There's a nonprofit that restores the murals in our public buildings that were painted over.
Oh,
Wow, Indigo.
I've always wanted to go around the post office and see the WPA murals that are all over this country that we all paid for, by the way.
Yes.
And put a lot of artists to work at a time when people didn't have work.
Yes. And amazing art. The WPA was, we did some really great things trying to get out of the depression.
Mm-hmm.
We will all be replaced by AI. It's a logical progression of evolution of humans, but must be mindful, not mindless progress, not profit over people. Yes, the capitalism extremes make things a little difficult, I think. The Brillo box had its own art pedigree before Warhol took it. I think you're right, Adam. Indigo says, right now I'm in conversations with my art friends to help me on a project because I want to support them, but I'm pretty broke. So it gets tough and I turn to AI for the moment. Yes, Indigo. I mean, the thumbnails and the other things, I don't have the talent to put things like that together on my own. And I certainly am not making YouTube money that allows me to pay a thumbnail artist. I would love to be able to do that. So having it, there is a piece of this ethical piece of access, right? Of having just access that I don't have to, that I can have something that is representational,
And
that
not
other,
pay as much for the materials. I think I pay $20 a month for my program.
right. Adam says Dolly Mini is an AI. So that answers that question.
Oh, I'll check that out, Adam. Thank you.
Yes. Nebulous says, to me, the Mona Lisa by Leonardo is worth $5, and another may value it differently. That's why we are called humans and not robots. Exactly. Being replaced by AI wouldn't be so bad if people weren't immiserated by it. I agree, Adam. This is an excellent point, and I can speak to this, Indigo. ChatGPT is actually causing issues with college courses because people are using it instead of putting the work themselves in to write their essays.
Mm.
I would worry that my original writing would be used without my consent. So, one of the things that's really interesting, because my professors really encourage me to use GPT in my work, and I use it a lot for making lesson outlines, for for creating dialogues or stories that contain a specific list of vocabulary words. That's something that takes forever to do as a human.
Mhm.
And the AI can spit something out that's reasonably uh readable in 3 minutes, right? So why would I take the time to create that narrative myself? It's a waste of my time if I have the machine to do that.
I found that I mean, I used it for a few different kinds of writing, not for art, like not, you know what I mean, for functional writing. Um,
Yes.
I fed my own writing style enough of it into it that it knows how to imitate my writing style, which it's good at. But I asked it. Remember when we did that thing where we asked everybody to contribute an object to a picture called the
Yes.
um, uh, exquisite corpse process, right? That little surreal.
Mhm.
So the first time they did that, where the name comes from, they did it with words for a poem of sorts, right? So
Mhm.
I took that idea at one of our peer meetings that I have for my job. We have like icebreakery type things, and we did that with words. We each had each person contribute like a word that might have to do with wellness in some way, or growth, or what have you. And I asked it to spit out a poem, and I'm thinking, it's going to spit out some crappy little ba 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 ba. I almost cried when I read the thing.
Really?
Yes, it was good. It was good. It, Now, I'm not an aficionado of poetry. Poetically speaking, if you know about meter and such, it might have been a piece of crap. But sentimentally, it did an amazing job. It did a much better job than I would have done sitting down and trying to write something like that result.
Interesting.
You know,
Was it able to do it in your voice? Is that sorry, I got
I didn't ask it to. This was
okay.
just an exercise for the group, so I didn't want to muddle my voice into it at all.
Oh, got it. Right. That was an exquisite I got it. An
Right.
exquisite corpse with a group making
Yeah.
poetry. Sorry. Trying to run 3 things at once sometimes makes my brain forget parts of conversations. So, that brings us to what Adam is saying, that artists seem the most bothered that AI trains on their work.
I really can't blame them. I mean, they feasted on one another's work for long enough, and now robots are doing it.
Ah, yeah.
A lot of Roy Lichtenstein's comic book paintings, he
Mhm.
lifted those images straight out of other people's work. Not just the idea for it or whatever, but just like totally just took that exact picture and slapped one of his, captions on it and sold it as his own work.
Wow.
And he certainly wasn't the only one to do something like that.
Nebulous. Let the robots do the work. More leisure time for us humans. Strange, but the common denominator almost all beings on planet Earth is we get 24 hours no matter who we actually are. I would agree with that, Nebulous. If we could um I would agree with that if we could get more leisure time, but actually our leisure time has dropped a ton, right? So Bowie was androgynous.
Oh, God.
He and Twiggy did a shoot together dressing up as each other. That's amazing.
So beautiful. Apparently, his wife that wrote a really funny book about her life with him would, rather than try to tell him what to wear, she would buy clothes that she thought he would like and then put them in her closet so she could borrow them.
That's hilarious.
That's what Angie said anyway. I'm just gonna say that, but I believe
Okay.
too good a story not to believe it.
Yeah, yeah. Indigo agrees. You have to try quite a few times to get the details right as well. Like the background she made for me, she had to try like 12 times to get the vibe right. It's really hard to get the vibe right.
Yeah.
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 Maybe
And
they
I'm
were
gonna
French.
repeat something I've been yapping all
Are you there,
officially.
Cricket? There you go. You've been you popped out for a minute.
I just want to repeat my offer that I made in chats and elsewhere, that any of you with the smaller growing channels within our little family that want me to make you a thumbnail or a profile pic or a gift for a friend who's not having a good time, let me know. It's how I want to contribute. I can't give you money, but I can do that. So please don't feel shy about asking me. Okay, any of you, I'll put my email into the chat later, but it's on my page.
Cricket is not scary, you guys, and he means the
Ooh,
offer. So yeah. Here we have soda. Here we have soda. Okay,
soda.
I'm looking for comments. Dusty, let's watch your clip. Hold
Oh,
on.
that.
Let me see if I can pull it up. It's going to take me a minute since we've got soda visiting. I have to hide my keyboard. It's more difficult than it might seem. Oh, I need to find your link, Dusty. Hold on. Dusty, can you drop that link again? Nope, I found it. Never mind. Here we go, guys. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Ouch. Ouch.
Nice. Did you guys see that? Nice. Try again. Go now.
Ah!
Go now. Try again. Go faster.
Nope, they're coming out. That's hilarious, Dusty.
Oh.
That's hilarious. Okay, stop share.
What is that wonderful German word where you take pleasure in the mistakes of others or the bad luck of others? Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Yes.
Filled with
Yes. Everybody liked Orion's art with the soup can.
it.
A reminder that Cricket said if you like that art and want it, if you make a donation to Cubs Champions, he will send it to you.
Yes.
So
email me the receipt. The first one I get gets the picture. I make stuff for you anyway, if you ask. So it's just it's a token.
It's a little token thing.
But it's also a good opportunity, just a reminder that Cubs is fabulous, and any help that anyone can give him, I would, and I'm sure the rest of our community would appreciate and love you for it.
Cubs needs the help. Yeah. Never and Aaron says, I wonder what it would give you if you had the puppy dog Kellogg's Fruit Loops. Hey, you guys, it's first Minnesota goodbye. We flew right through it.
You know what's interesting about like branded products or whatever? Some of them may have I suspect have a deal with Chat GPT. I needed some pictures at Ghirardelli
Chocolates
in San Francisco, and they usually make all sorts of errors with signs and they nailed that store like you would not believe.
Interesting.
So I feel like,
but they nail the Scientology building in San Francisco, don't they?
ish, they don't get that right. They get Big Blue right. It already knew Big Blue. I never described Big Blue to it. It already knew that building, which struck me as a little off the beat. I mean, you expect it to know the Empire State Building and the Pyramid Building in San Francisco.
Not the main Scientology building, right?
It knows it, but it will make it with a big giant crack down the front and a volcano in the back if you ask it nicely.
I have seen such a picture. Janelle likes our comment that the AI version was a Dollar Tree birthday card. She liked that one.
I was concerned that I might have offended you in some way, Janelle, but I was pretty sure. I don't know. When you're talking about somebody's work, I think that there could be an emotional factor to that. I'm not attributing that to Janelle. I'm just saying that generally. You know what I mean? It's
Janelle says she's sold prints in galleries since she was 17 and she wants to see the AI piece. We will mail it to you, Janelle.
Yeah, happy to.
We will mail it to you.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, interesting, Adam. Orson Welles' F for Fake takes on these issues in an interesting way, and all pre-AI. Is F for Fake interesting? That's a movie, I'm sure.
F for Fake. Orson Welles. So maybe that's
I mean, if Adam says it.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to look into that. That sounds very interesting.
That does, yeah, it's a docudrama, an hour and a half, written and starring Orson Welles. It focuses on Elmer DeHory's recounting of his career as a professional art forger.
Oh, DeHory.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, some of
that sounds excellent.
Some of the art forgers sort of made it, like a cultural name for themselves, and have talked about what they did, and it's interesting. I mean, I don't condone crime, but it is sort of a fascinating little underbelly of the art world.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Indigo Twins. Now this is something to add to my I do it because Adam Carmona says so list. I have one of those, Adam. I do it because Adam said so. Painters like Van Gogh and Monet would often whitewash a canvas and paint over mistakes. You can see this when they restored the Mona Lisa. Exactly, Indigo.
Yeah. Then when they were trying to research paintings, they found other paintings underneath them that, of course, they hadn't known existed, which is really amazing if you think about the luck of finding an unknown work under another work.
Antics says, Cricket Cinema, great to see you and hear you and sharing your knowledge with us.
Hey, Antics. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry I didn't say hello to people individually. From where I'm sitting, I can just make out the chat, which is why I'm kind of leaning in, kind of looking all
leaning in and squidding, yes.
But
and Nebulous says you have more power in one single brain cell if you added up all the computing power on planet Earth. No, we can never be replaced on this plane of existence. Yes, exactly, Nebulous. That anxiety, I mean, Just like the anxiety over evolution and the anxiety that the earth wasn't the center of the universe. It's not an anxiety we understand now because we're past it, but yeah, it's this huge thing that is just a nothing.
And one thing that the AI cannot come up with, as far as I can see on its own, is the original idea for a work of art. No matter how somebody executes a work of art, if you don't have an original idea, what are you going to have?
Right.
You know, you have to have a vision. Without that artistic vision, I can't. I think it could have a vision of sorts if you prompted it to, but it's not the same thing.
DOA is a fraud and Indigo Twin. I am sorry you couldn't see the book. The book is a famous book authored pre-World War II by the man who was German chancellor, and it starts the two initials for the two words of the title are M and K. That is the book that her feet were resting on.
Written in prison, by the way, just saying.
Where have we seen that again? Yeah.
Right? Sending people to prison does not necessarily get rid of them.
Nebulous. I wonder if AI could ever compute that in the 4.5 billion years of existence, how come we are alive now at this time? Well, isn't that a Douglas Adams question? What's the meaning to life, the universe, and everything? It's 42, right?
Right, 42, exactly.
Schrodinger's cat is alive and well. Can someone take a look at the box and provision an opinion otherwise? There you go. Adam, in memory of W.B. Yeats, Auden writes, "The death of the poet was kept from his poems." That line has shades of AI. Interesting, Adam. The death of the poet was kept from his poems. It does presage AI, especially when we're talking about voice and image. Yeah. Indigo will reach out to you for thumbnails. Yes, Soda showed up. Yes, the name is Schadenfreude. Please, somebody share a Cubs link if they haven't. Sorry about that. That's the danger of having Soda up on my desk, is he steps on the keyboard. Where are we here? We're at Second Minnesota Goodbye. Does Cricket have something under wraps, Antics? Cricket, Antics says you have a new video under wraps.
Oh, I do.
I hear tell that something is coming, y'all.
Yes, I'm just sort of wrapping up my final edits. I'm waiting for some feedback on the subject of my little flick.
Your flick is excellent.
Thank
Mind blowing. Yes.
like I said, the using trying to get more than one picture of the same characters in a narrative and
It's seamless. It's beautiful.
I a lot of mistakes, and I'm probably going to leave some of them in. I do sometimes I wonder, and maybe I'm giving the company a little too much credit. It often will bury a mistake that's really, really hard to spot. And I sometimes wonder if they do that just to undercut this idea of trying to perfectly replace something else. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
For $20 a month, they don't really want to get too perfect. But no, a lot of times, especially because they know that a lot of us are creating this on a phone. And
yes.
really easy to make something look good on a phone, and when you look at it on the computer, it's not the same
It's
picture.
not the same picture. I
Oh.
do mine on a computer because you need to see the big screen. You need to see all the details, just like people couldn't see what book she had her feet on, right? Because the screen is too small to carry it all. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Indigo Twin makes a good point in Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. What the existentialism of AI, whether Decker is AI or not, right? Blade Runner, is Decker an AI or not? Do you know Blade Runner?
I know of Blade Runner. I can't remember whether I saw Blade Runner, to tell you the truth. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's an excellent story of a man who's a police officer and his job is to hunt down and exterminate rogue AI robots
Oh.
that are so human looking that they blend into the population. And what the story toys with the whole time, his love interest may or may not be an AI, and he's trying to tease that out, but also it's not clear if he's an AI.
Oh, okay.
You trying to plug yourself in, Cricket?
I am, and I clicked over. Here I am. I clicked over to us on YouTube, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working, and it's because I'm not watching myself on YouTube right
Because you're not watching yourself. That would be bad, yeah. Janelle, that's exactly like you're saying, Janelle. It's like their trademark is including a goofy error. It's like
Yeah,
the
it
AI's trademark is including a goofy error.
often does. You know, some of the errors though, are like, well, there's like that symbol on the wall in the French Resistance thing.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly will not willingly depict a picture of, how can I put this the right way, a personal assault if you were to ask it to, but
Mm-hmm.
it depicted out of the blue one of my characters being assaulted in a really personal way. When I asked it to show me a picture of uh, the San Francisco skyline with a volcano as part of the picture, it blew San Francisco up with a bomb. I'm sure it wouldn't do those things if I asked it to. It just spat those pictures out.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I challenged it about it, it challenged me for describing what was in the pictures. It said I violated their policy by saying what was in the picture. I said, "Well, you made the picture. I mean, what am I to say to that? You know, your
Right.
character is grabbing my friend's boob in the picture, and I can't say that to you because it's a violation of your policy, but you made the picture."
Yes. I didn't ask you to do that. That wasn't part of the picture. Indigo Twin, which movie? Because my reading of the first movie, at least, was that it was still left up to chance. It wasn't until the second movie it specified. But that's way off the subject. I just thought I'd. So, do you guys have any other comments or questions? We are past the second Minnesota goodbye. I thought I'd give you a Ryan cam again for a moment if you'd like it. And we have Cricket here for the next little while. Look at that.
Oh, he's active.
He is much more active. He had his last codeine pill. Look at this. He's wanting out and in my lap. Oh, I know what the problem is. No, you got to stay in. You got to stay in. Okay, so there's Orion Cam. He's much more active. I'm wanting to move around. And I think, guys, unless you guys have more questions, we have our annual AI vein of non-compliance runs deep. Yes, indeed. It certainly seems to be much more important. He is looking much more spry. Indeed, antics. Yes, it is, Kristen. Brain fog got me this amazing stroller. It's a person stroller that's a bassinet, so he can be pushed around the house. Yeah. But guys, I think I need to go take care of him. I know we're only an hour and a half in. I'm sorry to call it short, but he's fussing about something and I need to figure out what it is. And I need to go get ready for the annual family Christmas event.
Yay.
Yay. So you guys, we're going to kill it on the second Minnesota goodbye. Is that okay? We'll say goodbye. No commentary.
Yeah.
You're coming up slow.
It's okay with me. Whatever
Okay.
you know, I'm all about Orion.
It's all about Orion right now, and he's fussing about something. So I'm going to go take care of. Love and hugs, everybody. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
It was nice meeting all of you. Like in
It
person.
was nice to meet you like in person, Cricket. Hugs, people. Bye-bye.